afternoon. You may be seated. I'm assuming that my bailiff has instructed you as to the rules of this court. I expect them to be enforced at all times. We are not flexible here. Is that understood? Okay. If I can have the bailiff please announce the first case today.
The first case is the State versus Big Bad.
I didn't do it.
Miss, part of the rules of this court, you will not speak until you are under oath. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I expect that to be followed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, stay ready to proceed. Okay, and if you'll please rise and announce yourselves. Speak into the microphone so everybody can hear, please.
I am Chase Bell, and I'm Serbia Room.
Okay, are you ready to proceed today?
Yes, sir.
And you are the prosecution, is that my understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Defense ready to proceed. Eyes, every time you address this court, you will stand. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are your names and who do you represent?
My name is Kaylee Ford. My name is Miles James.
Okay, and who do you represent today?
Mr. Big.
Okay, and Mr. Big, Miss Big is the defendant? Okay, all right. Okay, you can be seated. And state, what are the charges in this case today? What is Miss Big Bad Wolf being charged with today?
Big Bad Wolf destroyed Ann's house and killed Ann, and he destroyed Bob's house and killed Bob.
Okay. Is there a complaint you wish to read to the defendant? Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, counsel of the defense, to the friends and families of the victims.
Hold on 1 second. Is there a complaint in the case that the Big Bad Wolf can enter a plea on? Or can you just want me to read it to her? Okay, she's being charged with the is it murder?
Yes.
Murder of whom?
Of Ann and Bob.
Ann and Bob.
The pigs.
Okay. And is there any other charge? Willful destruction of
Malicious
property?
destruction of property.
Okay. And if Ms. Big Bad Wolf will please rise. You understand why you're here today, Ms. Big Bad Wolf?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, you understand you're being charged with the murder of Ann and Bob Pigs. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What is your plea to the count of murder of Ann?
Not guilty.
What is your plea to the count of murder of Bob?
Not guilty.
Okay, you're also being charged with malicious destruction of property. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is your plea to the count of malicious destruction of property?
My plea is not guilty.
Okay, thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
Defendant having entered a plea of not guilty in all 3 charges, we will proceed to trial. Prosecution is ready to proceed. Does the prosecution wish to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, counsel of the defense, friends and families of the victims, and to you, the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Good afternoon. I am Chase Bell, and this is my co-counsel, Serbia Room. We represent the people of Texas, and we are here to prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the Big Bad Wolf destroyed Ann's house and killed Ann, and that he destroyed Bob's house and killed Bob. Our witness placed the Big Bad Wolf at both Ann and Bob's houses in the afternoon of Saturday, April 15th. We have witnesses that heard the defendant say, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." And then they saw the Big Bad Wolf suck in a lot of air and blow the houses down. Witnesses heard pigs squealing from pigs fighting for their lives, and unfortunately, neither Ann nor Bob has been seen since. Why would the Big Bad Wolf do these awful things, you might ask? Well, simply put, the defendant was hungry after a long winter and tired of eating small animals. The Big Bad Wolf considered those little animals an appetizer, and Ann and Bob were the main course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do not be fooled by the defense's theory down by wind, when in fact April 13th was a calm day. Don't allow them to insult you by saying that wolves are nice and kind and would never hurt the other animals, because we all know that wolves are vicious and conniving and consider pigs to be the ultimate treat. Big Bad Wolf is bigger and stronger than the rest of the average wolf, and use those great big lungs to annihilate the homes that Ann and Bob cherish. And then she killed them. The Big Bad Wolf should be punished for these terrible crimes, and we need you to give the friends and families of Ann and Bob the justice they deserve.
Thank you. Fence have an opening argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kaylee Fort, and this is Monish Jain. We are lawyers representing Miss Big. The prosecution will not be able to prove that Miss Big is in fact guilty because she is not guilty. Our witnesses will say that Miss Big did not knock down Bob and Ann's houses and did not eat them. Snack the Pig will say that he is certain Miss Big is not the wolf he saw blowing down the houses. Fluff the Lamb will say that she thinks all wolves should be in prison, but is unable to give a clear description of what the wolf looked like, and is unable to identify whether Miss Big is the wolf that blew Ann and Bob's houses down. The sheriff will share that they haven't found the two pigs yet. There's no evidence that they were eaten. Also, Little Good Wolf will testify that once he was accused of taking a couple of lambs that were later found. And not only that, one of his wolf friends was accused of taking chickens that were also later found. After hearing all these testimonies, the jury will be able to find that Miss Big is not guilty of these crimes.
All right, thank you. Prosecution, call your first witness.
Your Honor, the people call Slither the Snake to the stand.
Slither the Snake, come forward, please. Or this way.
This way.
Slither probably can't see. Slither, if you will rise, please stand. Raise whatever snakes have on the right side. You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, thank you. You can have a seat. And if you'll make sure you speak right into the microphone so everyone can hear you, okay? You may proceed.
Slither the Snake, please tell the court how you know the victims.
I was a friend of both Ann and Bob. I was also the architect of their houses. I helped design their houses.
Is this what you do for a living?
Yes, I'm a licensed architect who has been designing and building houses for over 3 years. When I went to architecture school, I've gotten straight A's. I won 2 awards for my work and I'm very famous for it.
That sounds like you are pretty good at what you do. Can you tell us a little bit about the designs for Ann and Bob's houses?
I helped design their houses, but Ann and Bob chose to build their houses differently. Ann chose to build her house out of straw.
So you didn't help build the houses?
No. Ann had help from the neighborhood mice to build her house, and they built it out of straw. Bob built his house out of sticks. I'm sure the sticks would be stronger than straw, but it depends on what he used to put them back together. Tape and glue wouldn't be as strong as nails, for instance.
That's disappointing that they didn't follow your design.
Yeah.
Had they followed your design, then it wouldn't have been so easy for the Big Bad Wolf to blow it down, right?
I don't think so.
Thank you for your expertise. That is all we have, Your Honor.
Fence, you're the witness. Do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Could the houses fall with your incredible design if they were built exactly like you had designed them?
No, I don't think so.
Is tape a strong way to hold a house together?
No.
Did you help build the houses to make sure they were built correctly?
No, Ann had her house help. Ann had neighborhood mice to help build her house
Why have you never worked with mice?
because I can be dangerous near lunchtime.
Do you know how strong straw is?
No, because I never built one yet. So.
Thank you, that is all.
Any more questions from the state?
No further questions.
All right. Elizabeth Snake, you may step down. Thank you. Mr. Bell, call your next witness, please.
The people called Porter the horse to the stand.
Order the horse. Would you please raise your right hand? Solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, you have a seat, please. And you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Porter. Can you tell the court where you live? I live in a stable with another horse. We are both Ann, neighbors of Ann, the pig whose strong house is blown over.
Were you at home on the afternoon of Saturday, April 13th?
Yes, I was.
Had you seen Ann that day?
No, I hadn't, because I was in the pasture most of the day.
What happened when you got home?
I heard a yelling coming from the direction of Ann's house.
Did you look outside to see who was yelling?
No, I hid because the voice was very loud and scary.
It's a good thing you hid. Otherwise, you may have been a victim, too. Were you still able to hear anything?
I heard, little pig, let me in.
So the voice demanded to come in.
Yes. Then I heard, if you don't, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in.
Proceed.
Well, I heard a big wind, even though it was not windy that day. Then I heard a pig squeal and the sound of someone running away.
You said you heard a pig squeal.
Yes.
Interesting. So once you heard the person run away, did you feel safe enough to go outside?
Yes. And when I did, I saw Ann's house in shambles.
The house had been blown over, but it was not windy that day. Did you see or hear anyone else suspicious?
I didn't see anyone, but I also saw Bob's house blown over.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm imagining this can all be very frightening. Do you have any idea who would do such a thing?
About a week ago, I saw some wolves lurking around the neighborhood. Twice a night, I saw this wolf near the houses, and there was a wolf around the woods neighborhood and close to the neighborhood.
Is it possible that one of the wolves you saw creeping around the neighborhood could have been the defendant?
Yes, it could have been.
Thank you. That's all we have, Your Honor.
Okay.
Did you see Anne in the morning of April 13th?
No, I had not seen him.
Are you sure that the person who said little pig, let me in was a wolf?
Yes.
Are you sure one of the wolves lurking in the area was Big Ben?
No, I didn't see it very clearly.
That is all, Your Honor.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Order the horse. You may step down. Thank you. And call your next witness.
The people called the sheriff to the stand.
The sheriff. Sheriff, you are a sworn officer of the law. I'm going to expect that you will be telling the truth in this case. Is that correct? Okay, so there's no need, because you are technically an officer of this court, there is no need for you to be sworn in. All right, you can be seated. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Sheriff. Where were you in the afternoon of Saturday the 13th?
Down at the station in my office.
Can you tell the jury how you were alerted to the
Hold on
crime?
a second. I'm assuming that everyone heard bailiff's instructions to silence all cell phones in this courtroom. Is that correct? Silence all cell phones now. Thank you. You may proceed, I apologize.
May you please tell the jury how you were alerted to the crime?
I got a call. The caller said that two houses had been destroyed in the woods.
Did you then go to the neighborhood near the woods?
Yes, I went with my dad.
What did you find?
I found animals gathered around 2 miles.
Did you proceed to investigate the area?
Yes, I did. determined that it was not windy that day, and Anne and Bob's house had been destroyed.
Your Honor, I'd like to present into evidence a few pictures to further clarify to the jury what the sheriff says he saw.
Okay. If you'll show it to the defense, please. Don't show it to the jury yet. Show it to the defense table. Okay, if you just bring it over and show it to them. Does the defense have any objection to the admission of those photographs into evidence in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Photos will be marked and admitted to the state's Exhibit 1, and you may publish them to the jury. Did you have any questions of the officer on the stand of those questions, or you just want to submit them to the jury?
I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, Sheriff. This is a regular steakhouse. This is a steakhouse that has been knocked over or bumped into.
You know what? Why don't you come on up here, and you can turn it around, and the sheriff can see it, and turn around, and he can see it, and everybody else can see it at the same time. There you go. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
And this is a steakhouse that has been blown over. Is this what you saw at the crime scene?
Yes, that is what I saw at the crime scene.
Did you talk to anyone about the crime scene?
Yes, I talked to Porter.
Can you tell us what Porter said?
She said she was in her house when she heard, little pig, let me come in. And shortly after, she heard the same voice say, then I'll huff, and I'll blow my house, I'll blow your house in. When she went outside, Anne's house was destroyed. Next to Anne's house, Bob's house was also destroyed.
Had Porter seen anything else unusual?
There were holes in the area about a week earlier.
Were you able to find Anne or Bob?
No, we have not.
Thank you for your testimony, Sheriff. That is all we have today.
Ben, questions for the jury?
Did you actually find out what happened after you investigated the area?
No.
Is there any evidence that any pigs were eaten?
No.
Is there any evidence that the house was blown down?
The house was either blown or pushed down.
Did you see any wolves nearby when you came to the crime scene?
No.
That is all known.
Any more questions from this witness?
No.
All right, Sheriff, you may step down. Thank you for your time. Next witness in the stand.
The people called Quack the Goose to the stand.
Quack the Goose, come forward, please. You will raise your right wing. Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Have a seat, please. And you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Quack. Please tell the court about the events on the afternoon of Saturday, April 13th.
I was playing soccer in my backyard with my goslings, and I live across the street from Anne and Bob. And I saw the wolf sleeping around the edge of the woods behind my backyard, and so I called my goslings in, and we went and rescued this pig.
I can definitely understand that. I know I wouldn't want to be around if I saw a wolf sneaking around close to me. Did you continue to watch the wolf after you were inside the safety of your home?
Yes, I did. I watched him from my window, and he was moving very slowly, and watching him very carefully.
Did the wolf ever get closer?
She did. She got to the edge of my yard and then dashed to the street, and I couldn't see anything else from my window from that point, and so I went to check on my goslings to make sure they were safe. And as I passed through my house, I passed by my front window, and I saw Anne running into her house.
Did you hear or see anything else?
I couldn't hear anything because my goslings were squawking and quacking really loudly. But after a while, I went to check in the front window, and I saw that Anne and Bob's house has been destroyed.
What did you do next?
I called the sheriff.
You saw Anne running into her house right before it was destroyed. But have you seen her since?
No, I haven't seen Ed or Bob since April 13th.
Do you see the same wolf you saw on April 13th in this courtroom?
Yes, that is the big bad wolf.
Are you sure?
Positive. No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense?
Were you absolutely sure the wolf sneaking along the edge of the woods behind your house was Big Bear?
Yes.
Can you tell one wolf from another?
Yes.
Did you see what the wolf did?
No.
Do you have good eyesight?
Yes.
That is all you know.
Any further questions from the stands? Right, you two may step down, thank you. Call your next witness, please.
The people call Fluff the Lamb to the stands.
Walk away. Hold on one second. All right, bailiff, if you please would go back, confiscate the phone of that young lady there and escort her to the bench, please. Well, if you just stay up here for a second. All right, bailiff, will you please confiscate the phone? Come here, man. Were you in this room when the bailiff read off the instructions of the foreman in this courtroom? You weren't paying attention, you were probably on your phone. Sound right? Was that important call you were receiving? Probably not. Was it more important than somebody's life? So, okay. I don't take these violations very lightly. When we've concluded here today, I'm going to order that you comply with my order to complete 40 hours of community service. Okay? At my choosing, you're going to wash my car, cut my grass, and whatever other menial chores I see fit for your community service. Do you understand? Okay, be seated.
Need to silence.
No, you need to hold on to her phone until
She needs, can she
conclusion.
silence it or should I?
No, yeah, you can silence it. Thank you. I apologize for the disruption. You may, let's see, you are left the lamp. You please raise your hand. So, where you were going to tell the truth here today? Yes? Okay, you're a quiet one, so you're going to have to speak into the microphone, okay? All right. How do we make it?
Fluff, thank you so much for agreeing to provide your testimony today. Please tell the court where you were in the afternoon of Saturday the 15th.
I was at home that day. I lived next to Bob.
Since you live next to Bob, did you hear or see anything related to the crime?
Well, I heard a loud noise outside, so I looked out my window. Outside my window, I saw a wolf yelling at Bob's house.
What was the wolf yelling about?
The wolf said, little pig, let me in."
Did Bob let him in?
No, Bob said, "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin."
I'm sure the wolf didn't like that. What did the wolf do next?
The wolf said, "Then I'll huff and puff and blow your house down." And the wolf took a big breath and he blew the house down.
What happened after that?
When Bob's house was destroyed and Straw House was also destroyed, I heard a pig squealing.
You heard a pig squealing after both houses were destroyed?
Yes.
Did you try to help?
No. I actually felt very faint and I don't remember seeing anything else until I woke up. When I woke up, there were animals standing and yelling around the two destroyed houses.
You were obviously frightened. Do the wolves come in the neighborhoods often?
Yeah, I've often seen them lurking around. They just won't stay in the woods.
That is definitely unfortunate for all the other animals in your neighborhood. Thank you for providing your testimony today. That's all we have to know.
Okay. Questions, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Are you certain that Miss Big was the wolf you saw?
No, I can't tell wolves apart from each other.
Did you see the wolf eat the pig?
No.
Thank you. That is all.
Any further questions from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down, thank you. What? Call your next witness, please.
The people called the deputy deputy to the stand.
Deputy, come forward, please. Deputy, you are also a sworn officer of the law, is that correct? And by definition, you are an officer of this court, so I'm not going to subject you to an oath. I'm assuming you will be telling the truth in here today, is that right? All right, have a seat up here. And you may proceed.
Please tell the court where you were on the afternoon of Saturday, April 13th.
I was in the sheriff's office down at the station when the sheriff got a phone call. He said we had to go to the scene of a crime.
What happened when you got there?
I saw a group of animals and two piles, a pile of sticks and a pile of straw. The sheriff told me to write down what some witnesses said for my report.
What did your report say?
First, I talked to Quack the Goose, who lives across the street from Ann and Bob's. She said she saw Ann that morning and everything was fine. Later that afternoon, she saw Ann running into her house with a wolf following. A while later, both houses were blown down and Ann and Bob were missing.
Did you record any more witness statements?
Yes, I talked to Fluff the lamb, who lives next to Bob. She said she saw a wolf standing outside of Bob's house, saying he would blow the house in. After a while, both houses were destroyed.
So Fluff not only heard something similar to what the sheriff reported that Porter heard, but Fluff actually saw the wolf blow the house down?
Yes, that's what Fluff said.
Thank you so much, Deputy. That's all we have, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Hold on, Deputy. Questions from the defense?
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
may proceed.
Had Quack actually seen Ann that morning?
Yes,
Can Fluff give a clear description of what the wolf looked like?
I don't think so.
Did you or any of the animals have evidence the pigs were eaten?
No,
Did you or any of the animals see any evidence they were eaten?
no.
Thank you. That is all.
Any other questions for this witness?
Thank you.
Deputy, you may step down. Thank you. Your next witness, please.
Your Honor, the people called Moo the cow to the stand.
Move the cow. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, thank you. Proceed. And you may proceed.
Hello, Moo. You are a teacher at a local college, correct? Any specialties?
Yes, I teach animal science. I'm an expert on wolves.
Can you tell us more about your studies?
Well, I know a lot about wolves, and I'm even hired by the White House sometimes when there's talks at the wolves at the White House.
That's outstanding. Do you know the victims of the defendant?
No, I do not know Ann or Bob.
Well, based on your research, what do wolves like to eat?
Wolves like to eat meat, and wolves they can find.
Pigs are known to be fat and full of meat. Is it common for wolves to eat pigs?
Yes, they can even chow down one pig very quickly.
Really? So if someone turned their back for just a second, a wolf could gobble a whole pig just that fast?
Yes, that is quite possible.
What about two pigs? Would a wolf have enough room for two?
Well, it may not eat most of the pigs, but it may eat one and then bring the other one to share as its pack of family.
We have heard testimony that there are a lot of wolves in the area. We also know the woods are very close to the neighborhood where the crime took place. If the defendant wanted to, could he have taken the second pig back to eat later or share with somebody else?
Yes, wolves are very clever and cunning hunters.
As clever and cunning hunters as wolves are, they have to sneak around and watch the prey closely, right? Looking for the perfect time to attack.
Yes.
Does the size of a wolf affect its appetite?
Yes, the bigger the wolf, the more it can eat.
What would you say about the defendant's size?
Big Bad Wolf is a very large wolf compared to other wolves.
Could he eat a whole pig if he were hungry?
Yes, that's quite possible.
Thank you for your expert testimony. That is all we can do. The prosecution rests its case.
Prosecutor.
Yes, Your Honor. Does a wolf usually kill another pig after eating a whole other one?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are wolves always hungry in early spring?
Yes. They're usually desperate and hungry in the spring, and they need to eat.
Does even a large wolf kill if it is not hungry?
No, if it's not hungry, it does not usually kill.
Thank you, that is all.
Any other questions from the staff?
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gaddis, please step down. Does the state have any other witnesses who would like to call on this proceedings?
No, Your Honor.
State rests its case.
Yes.
Okay. Counsel for the defense. Call your witness, please.
We would like to call Little Good Wolf to the stand.
Little Good Wolf, come forward, please. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Have a seat up here, please. And you may proceed.
Why do you think wolves should stay out of the town and farm areas?
Because they're able to have more food.
Do you believe there's enough food in the woods for you and all the other wolves?
Yes,
What is your relationship with Mr. Big?
we're very close friends.
Do you think Mr. Big was in a good mood on Saturday, April 13th?
Yes,
Why is that?
I'm unsure.
Why do you think the other animals don't like you and your friends?
They like accusing us for bad things.
How do they treat you?
They treat us very bad.
Have you ever been accused of taking something that has later been found?
Yes. It was a pack of lambs. Or a couple of lambs.
Do you see Mr. Big every day in the same woods?
I'm not sure.
What do you think happened to the other pigs?
There's a possibility that they couldn't enjoy, because if they were ashamed that their houses had fallen down.
That is all, Your Honor.
Examination.
Little Good Wolf, I'd like your help clarifying a few things. I was told that you and the Big Bad Wolf shared a squirrel earlier that morning, correct?
Yes.
Does the Big Bad Wolf generally share his prey with his friends and family?
Sometimes.
So did you and the Big Bad Wolf each have individual squirrels?
No.
So you killed a squirrel that was, say, 1 pound?
Close.
So is it likely that a big, strong wolf like the Big Bad Wolf could have been hungry that afternoon?
Maybe.
So wolves generally eat 1.5 pounds of meat a day.
Yes.
That seems strange. Why don't you eat town residents?
Because I have enough squirrels around.
I recall that you are good friends with the Big Bad Wolf.
Yes, that is true.
Then is it possible that you would be willing to eat a pig, even if you wouldn't get caught? Say as a bribe from the Big Bad Wolf to keep his murder secret?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further from this witness? You may step down. Call your witness, please.
The defense would like to call up Dr. Bear.
Dr. Barrett, come forward, please. Okay. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a seat up here, please. And you may proceed.
Was Miss Big in a good, healthy state?
Yes.
Did Miss Big seem starving?
No.
How do you know Miss Big?
She's my doctor. Or I am her doctor.
Come on. Do you know what the hunting was like that winter?
The hunting's not very good during the winter.
When was Mr. Big's appointment? March. Did Miss Big look well fed?
Yes.
Could you tell what Miss Big's been eating?
No.
Is Miss Big stronger or bigger than he was at his last checkup, or has she always been strong?
I'm unsure.
Thank you, that's all.
Process there.
Good afternoon, Dr. Bear. In your opinion, how is the big bad wolf compared to other wolves?
He's bigger and stronger.
I recall big bad wolf is a sheep.
Oh, yes.
If she's so
Only
hefty,
the doctor, he got married.
if she's so hefty and strong, then wouldn't she eat more than the average wolf as well?
Yes.
What are some of her superior attributes among her fellow wolves?
She has very strong lungs, and she is bigger than the average wolf.
Could a wolf with those characteristics carry one whole pig?
It's possible.
Do you think the defendant is capable of blowing a house down?
Yes.
Can you tell the court some information about animals in the early spring, like during her checkup?
Most of the animals during the early spring are smaller and weaker than they usually are, because the hunting is not good during the winter.
Was she hungry at her last checkup?
Yes.
Would you consider the big bad wolf's appetite large enough to be able to eat 1 to 2 whole pigs?
Yes.
And is it also likely that she could have kept the other pig for later?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Dr. Bear, you may step down. 10 to 20 minutes witness, please.
We would like to call Beeve to the stand.
Steve, come forward, please. Steve, you'll raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, have a seat, please. And you may proceed.
What did the pigs make their houses with?
They made their houses with straw and sticks.
What did they use to connect the straws and sticks?
Bob used tape to connect the sticks to each other.
Do you think the pigs poorly built their straw house?
Yes.
Could it have fallen down if there was a sudden gust of wind?
Yes.
That is all, Your Honor.
Dr. Bear.
Hello, Bee. What is your occupation?
I build houses.
In your experience, how sturdy would a house made of straw and tape be?
It would not be very sturdy.
Could it be blown down by a strong gust of wind?
Yes.
What about if the big bad wolf used her big, strong lungs to blow it down? Would it fall down?
Yes.
Well, jury, you heard the experts say that the big black wolf could blow the houses down with her big, strong lungs. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any other questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Steve, you may step down. Thank you. 10 to 20 minutes witness, please.
The defense would like to call Snack the pig.
Snack the pig. Okay, so we'll do later. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you. Have a seat up here, please. And you may proceed. Watch your face.
Was Miss Big the wolf you saw blow down the pigs' houses?
No.
How well is your eyesight?
It's very good.
Was it still light outside to be able to see well?
Yes.
How do you know Ann and Bob?
I live in the neighborhood that Ann and Bob live in.
What did you see on the sidewalk in front of Ann and Bob's houses?
I saw a wolf standing in front of Ann and Bob's houses, and I saw the wolf blow down Ann's house.
Do you know most of the remaining wolves?
Yes,
How?
by sight.
Can you describe the wolf you saw?
Yes, the wolf was about the same size as Mrs. Big and had about the same color as Mrs. Big, but the markings on the wolf that I saw, on their face, the markings were different.
Do you know most of the wolves by sight?
Yes,
So you are certain that Miss Big is not the wolf you saw that
Yes.
day?
yes.
Thank you, that is all.
Go, Daniel.
Hello, Snack. Can you tell us where you were on the afternoon of Saturday, April 13th?
Yes, I was walking in the neighborhood.
Proceed.
As I passed the corner of the street where Ann and Bob live, I saw a wolf standing on the sidewalk in front of Ann and Bob's houses, and I saw the wolf blow down Ann's straw house.
What did you do next?
I ran back to my house to check and see if my piglets were safe.
I can understand your concern for your piglet's safety, but did you manage to get a look at the wolf's face?
Yes,
Are you certain that it is the big bad wolf?
no, I'm sure that it is not the big bad wolf.
I recall you saying that the certain wolf you saw was about the same size as the big bad wolf and had the same color on its body, correct?
Yes,
Did you get a good look at the wolf's face?
yes,
May I ask, how far away were you when you saw the wolf on the late afternoon of Saturday, April 13th?
about 100 yards.
Keep in mind that it was late afternoon and there were shadows. Are you 100% positive you had a good look to see the wolf's face clearly?
Yes,
Your Honor, we would like to present some evidence with the test.
Okay. Any objection from the test?
No, Your Honor.
What are you trying to introduce?
We are trying to prove that Snappy Pig's eyesight may have flaws.
Okay. So you want to do a demonstration? Okay.
Please keep in mind that 100 yards is about the size of a football field. Can you see the markings on the big bad wolf?
yes.
What does it say?
What does it say?
Yes.
I don't know.
What I come say 3 steps closer. Could you see the markings now?
Yes,
What did they say?
I don't know.
I'm going to give you one last chance. 3 steps closer. What do the markings on the big bad wolf's face say?
I can't see the picture because somebody's head is,
Can you see the markings on the big bad wolf's face?
yes,
What did they say?
I don't know.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Any further questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Somebody watching My Cousin Vinny. You may sit down, thank you. Defense calling this witness, please.
The defense would like to call Big Green Wolf to the stand.
Big Green Wolf, come forward, please. Big Green Wolf, stand up, please. Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right, have a seat. And speak directly into the microphone, okay? You may proceed. Whatever you feel best here.
Why were you worried about the other animals always blaming the wolves whenever something goes wrong?
Can you repeat the question?
Why were you worried about the other animals always blaming the wolves whenever something goes wrong?
I don't know.
Do you think somebody knocked over the pigs' houses while they were playing soccer with the other animals?
Well, like, the houses aren't that strong, so I think it was blown by, like, wind. Because it's very light wind could, like, blow a house down.
Do you see Anne often repairing her house?
Yes.
In your opinion, do you think it's a sturdy house?
No, just, like, it's not really sturdy, like, it's a straw house.
Do Anne and Bob like to have other animals come to play soccer with them often?
I don't know.
That is all, Your Honor.
Have you ever been to Ann and Bob's neighborhood?
Yes.
That's odd, because I thought the wolves were supposed to stay in the woods. But anyway, were you in the neighborhood in the afternoon of Saturday the 13th?
I'm not sure.
So you don't know. In your opinion, how are Ann and Bob's houses sturdy?
No.
Do you know why she repaired me so many times?
Not really. Maybe because, like, it's a straw house and it's not really that sturdy.
No further questions.
Any other questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
You may sit down, thank you. That's it. Does have any other witnesses they would like to call?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense would like to call up Miss Big.
Ms. Big, you understand that this is a criminal proceeding,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you understand that you have a right not to testify against yourself in this proceeding. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and I'm assuming you've consulted with your attorneys and discussed that issue.
That's correct.
Okay, and it is your right to decline to testify, and the jury will be instructed not to hold that against you if you decide not to do that.
So I'm anxious to testify.
Okay, so you do wish to waive your right not to testify, and you wish to testify in this matter, is that right?
I'm ready to testify.
All right, if you'll come forward, please. All right, you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Have a seat, please. And you may proceed.
Will you please explain to the court what you were doing on the afternoon of Saturday, April 13th?
I remember that day because I had a terrible allergy attack. I woke up with a headache, sneezing, and I did go hunting that day. But honestly, being in the woods just made my allergies worse. I could not, my eyes were running and I could not stop sneezing. I had a squirrel, and then honestly I had taken the medicine. You see I brought my medicine. I had taken it that day and it just made me so sleepy. I went home and went to sleep.
Do you have allergies?
Yes, I have terrible allergies. My doctor would be able to tell you that.
Explain to the jury how you were feeling that afternoon after hunting for squirrels with little bit wolf.
Okay, well, I did, as I said, had taken medicine because I was sneezing and itchy, watery eyes, took a nap, and actually had a dream about my granny. And so when I woke up, I thought, I should do something nice for my granny. So I decided to bake her a cake. And when I went to my kitchen to make a cake, I realized I was out of sugar. So I was close to Ann and Bob's house. Do you want me to continue? Okay. And I knocked on the door simply to ask for some sugar. And when they opened the door, they seemed rather frightened. And I said, hey, I'm not here to harm you. I would just like some sugar. And they said something about not by the hair of my, I don't know, chin or something. And all of a sudden, when they said that, and of course, Ann's house made of straw, which I'm highly allergic to. When they said that, I took a huge breath and sneezed, and honestly, the house just knocked down. It was on the result of my sneeze. Well, I knew right then there was going to be trouble because of what people think about wolves. So I just turned and ran back to the woods because I didn't want to be around, because I was afraid I knew what was going to happen if I was around with the house that was blown down. So I went home. I was there the rest of the day.
Have you ever been wrongfully accused of harming animals before?
I have, sadly.
Has there been enough food in the woods for you?
For me, yes. My doctor and I have been working on me shedding a few pounds, trying to, keep things, so I haven't been eating as much. I'm quite healthy, but I've learned that small snacks are better for me than a large meal.
Did you harm the pigs in any way on that Saturday afternoon?
Well, if you mean by scaring them, did I harm them? I would have to say yes. I think I frightened them when I was at their door.
Thank you, that is all.
Cross-examination?
You said you were on a diet, correct?
I'm just watching my weight, just eating more healthy, I would say, not really a diet.
Is your doctor quite strict on this diet?
No.
So if it's so flexible, do you think you would be tempted to act out on that hunger, causing you to eat the pig? Possibly when you took the pills, which could have been outdated.
So what is your question?
Is it possible that you could have acted out on that hunger during your diet, and that would have been caused by the pills since they were outdated?
Perhaps. I think I've learned that small meals are better for me, but there is a correlation between wolves and pigs with most wolves.
In the morning of Saturday, April 13th, you shared a wolf, correct?
I shared a wolf.
You shared a squirrel, sorry.
I did with my friend, yes.
If you were as stuffy and sneezy as you say, how were you able to catch that squirrel? I recall that squirrels are very fast.
They are fast, but you know what? So am I. And between my sneezes, I was able to get the squirrel.
At the door of Ann's house, when the straw sort of toppled on her, was she harmed in any way?
I honestly do not know.
Are you positive?
I don't know. I sneezed, and I heard actually this morning that it's impossible to sneeze with your eyes open, so I'm not quite sure what happened.
So, Anne would have been a perfect pig to sort of debilitate that hunger you had during your diet.
You know, I was going to Anne for some sugar. She likes to bake, I'm told.
Did she say anything before, you blew her house down?
Before I sneezed, she just kind of did a little squeal at the door.
During your nap, which I recall was taken before or after?
Both.
Oh.
After hunting and then after visiting Anne. Those medicines, they knock me out.
Dr. Bear, is he a certified doctor?
As far as I know.
So you are sure that the pills are not outdated, causing you to hallucinate, thinking you took a nap when you really killed Anne and Bob?
I took a nap. and dreamed of my grandmother.
Your grandmother. That's quite an innocent thing to think of when you're probably...
I think most people would tell you I'm a very nice wolf.
Little good wolf. I presume he's little and good, correct?
Yes.
Which is probably why he doesn't eat the town residents.
We shared a squirrel. We're friends.
And the big green wolf is, well, big and green, correct?
Mhm.
So, if all of these names correlate to their characteristics, I recall you're the big bad wolf.
That's what people call me.
Is there a reason for your name?
It has to do with people just don't know wolves, so they don't trust them.
If they don't trust wolves, why does everybody call the little good wolf the little good wolf?
Because every wolf has to have a different name.
Who gave you that name? The public or your fellow wolves?
It's sort of a, my family name is big, so sort of you have to distinguish family members.
Yes. So, was bad the only characteristic that they thought would suit you?
I don't think so.
Around what time were you started to be called the Big Bad Wolf?
Oh, I don't remember.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
You better step down. Thank you. Does have any other witnesses they would like to call?
No, Your Honor.
State have any rebuttal witnesses?
No, Your Honor. No.
State rests its case.
Yes.
Defense rests its case. Okay. If I can get all the jurors to stand over here, please. You can be seated in the jury room, so you guys, y'all can go over there and get you all together. All right, that's fine, right over there. State have any closing statement it would like to make?
Yes.
You may proceed.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we would like you to take a moment to imagine the trepidation of a meek little pig, unaware of the great peril right outside your very door. And then a thundering roar threatened to blow their house down. Imagine the terror trembling throughout every fiber of their being, right down their pigtails. Envision the pig's state of mind at the devastation. One moment you're going about your daily life, and the next you're the entree on the Big Bad Wolf's menu. This is what Anne and Bob the pigs, each individually endured. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, take a minute to empathize with Anne and Bob's suffering, and you will agree that no one should ever have to undergo such pain. The witness testimonies have established these facts. 1, we've had witnesses who have confirmed seeing and hearing the Big Bad Wolf outside Anne and Bob's houses just moments before they were destroyed and before they disappeared. The witnesses have also confirmed having seen Anne at her house that morning. The Big Bad Wolf was also heard shouting outside their home and then going toward Anne's houses right after which her house was destroyed, and she went missing. We have 2 witnesses who saw the Big Bad Wolf blow the houses down. 2, a big, healthy wolf like the defendant can eat 2 pigs at a time. She also has the muscles and the strength to take another pig to eat at a later time. 3, some witnesses on the defense have claimed that the houses were blown down by the wind, but it has been proved that it is impossible since it was quite a calm day. And number 4, in the morning of Saturday, April 13th, the Big Bad Wolf shared a squirrel who she caught herself. And now, in Dr. Bear's words, the Big Bad Wolf is a stronger bigger wolf than the average wolf, which correlates to eating more than the average wolf as well, as proved. So just half a pound of squirrel meat would have been an appetizer, causing him to act out on that hunger, making Ann and Bob his main course. All of the defense theories are simply a way to let the defendant unaccountable for her actions. The evidence presented proves that the Big Bad Wolf is guilty for committing the murder of Ann and Bob the pigs, as well as the destruction of their homes. In conclusion, we ask that you find the defendant, the Big Bad Wolf, guilty as charged and let justice prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. Closing argument from the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. There is not enough evidence to prove that Miss Big is guilty. The prosecution has not yet proven his case. Fluff the Lamb stated that she was unable to give a clear description of the wolf she saw outside of Bob's house. She is also unable to identify whether Mrs. Big was the wolf outside Bob's house. And the sheriff admitted that she never found any evidence that the two missing pigs were eaten. Both Slither the Snake and Beef know that Ann and Bob's houses were poorly constructed and could have easily fell down. Also, we know Little Good Wolf and a friend of his were accused of taking chickens that were later found. Snack the Pig is absolutely certain that the wolf she saw outside of Ann's house was not Mrs. Big, and she has very good eyesight. We know you'll find Mrs. Big innocent.
Thank you. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This concludes the evidentiary portion of the trial. You as jurors are going to be charged with deciding whether or not the state has proved each element of the offense of murder of Bob and murder of Ann and malicious destruction of property beyond a reasonable doubt, which is their burden. You will have as much time as you need to determine this. You can determine whether or not it was the destruction of property was done maliciously or accidentally. The murder was conducted if there was a murder of either party, whether it was intentional, was it premeditated, or was it accidental. These are all things that you need to consider in determining whether or not Miss Big Bad Wolf is guilty of these offenses. With that, you'll be excused to the jury room to deliberate. All rise. All right, the jury is returned. Is there a foreperson of the jury? Presiding juror? All right, so come on up here, right in front of the microphone, please. And if I can have Miss Big Bad Wolf, please rise, along with your counsel. Both counsel, please rise with your client. There you go. Okay, I don't think I need to do it.
A little worried.
All right, has the jury reached a verdict in this case? Okay. You have to speak up. Yes? Hold on. Yes? Okay, speak into the microphone so we can all hear you. Okay, is this verdict unanimous? That is, everybody agrees in the jury panel.
We have one tie.
One tie on one of the counts?
Yes.
Okay. First, we'll go with State versus Big Bad on the murder of Ann the Pig. How do you find Big Bad and the murder of Ann the Pig?
That's a tie. I can't decide.
So you haven't reached a verdict in that case?
No.
Given more time to deliberate, do you believe that you can reach a verdict in that case on the murder of Ann the Pig?
Possibly.
What's it going to take? We don't serve them. So you can't reach a verdict? It's unanimous? Okay. So, on my authority, I'm going to declare mistrial in the case of the State versus Big Bad Wolf on the murder of Ann the Pig. Okay. The State versus Big Bad Wolf on the murder of Bob the Pig. Have you reached a verdict in that case?
Yes.
And what is the jury's verdict in that case?
Mrs.
Big is innocent of hurting Bob.
Not guilty?
Not guilty.
Okay. All right. So, State versus Big Bad Wolf on the cause of malicious destruction of property. How do you find Big Bad Wolf?
Mrs. Big is guilty of accidentally destroying Ann's house, but not guilty of destroying Bob's house.
Not guilty on Bob, but you believe that it was accidental.
Yes.
You don't believe that Big Bad Wolf did it with malice, aforethought, or premeditation to destroy the house. You believe it was an accident.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to interpret that third verdict as a not guilty because it was accidental, as the jury found out. You okay?
Great.
Take it down. All right. Big Bad Wolf, the jury of your peers has found you not guilty of the murder of Bob the Pig, not guilty of the malicious destruction of property, not guilty of the destruction of Bob the Pig's house, and has not reached a unanimous verdict in the murder of Ann the Pig. I am therefore declaring a mistrial in that case, and I am releasing you, and you are free to go. We are.